beautiful people. Welcome back to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. I am bright-eyed and jubilant and happy to be here. We are here to go over 90 Day The Single Life. We have made it to the end. This is going to be season 5, episode 15. This is the tell-all part 1. I know that a lot of my subscribers are watching and new to 90 Day Fiance as a franchise. At least a couple of them have reached out to me and said that they are getting into this show because they enjoyed the reviews. That really does mean the world, and I appreciate you guys. But for those who are new to 90 Day, the tell-all is essentially their version of a reunion. They tell it all. So I'm happy we finally got to this point, just because this was a drier season of 90 Day The Single Life. And I feel like the tell-all is going to be the area where we get some like resolution, some entertainment based on part 1. But I'm definitely more entertained with the tell-all than I was with the entire season. But I want to take an opportunity before we get into the official recap and review to encourage everybody, tap into the description of this video. I always include links to other great creators, as well as links and information on how you can reach me, collaborate with me, and all of those good things. If you are a small business owner, new business owner, Black-owned business, another creator, you're interested in collaborating or having your products featured, just let me know. I'm totally open to it. Also, I hope that everybody who is here does take the opportunity to like the video. It is an easy and free way to support the channel. If you really like what we're doing, consider subscribing, but I don't like to push people too much to subscribe because it should be something you're called to do. And usually the subscribers that aren't pushed to subscribe stay. But other than that, I thank everybody who stops by and watches the video because it does support me. And I welcome everybody in who is here. And welcome to our new subscribers as well. And a big thug life filled with lots of love. Now let's get into this tell-all, because this tell-all was the hotmessexpress.com.net.org. I didn't understand much of what happened. We're going to start, you guys know with the tell-all, they always show people kind of getting ready, coming in, preparing. And this cast, compared to like other seasons of The Single Life, a lot of this cast has been on 90 Day Fiance a couple of times, or it's spin off in some way. Now, everybody's preparing to get ready for the tell-all. And I thought it was funny because Sophie was complaining and noticeably upset that Pedro didn't want to talk to her. He don't want nothing to do with her. And she is bothered because she says that she was told that Pedro refused to film Between the Sheets. Thank God that's dying. I don't like Between the Sheets. I get really annoyed when my DVR records it with the episode. It's very annoying, and I'm glad that TLC is doing away with it. I don't like Between the Sheets. I don't like the pillow talks. I don't like it. That's just how I feel. But apparently Pedro was not willing to do a pillow talk or anything with her. And I'm just looking like, okay, Sophie, so pretty much you lack accountability. You don't see anything wrong with your actions. And it's pointless for you to be at this tell-all if you're going to do that, because I'm tired of Sophie. But we also get to see Courtney and Colt backstage dealing with each other. And Courtney says she's going to be a bitch to Colt. In my opinion, if you have that much energy to give to this man, while you're supposedly engaged to your new man, then maybe you still have unresolved feelings for Colt. Maybe you still feel a way about him. Because if she didn't care and was moved on, she'd just be like, oh, hey, Colt. You know? Let me know if you guys feel differently in the comments about that. But Colt was definitely passive-aggressive towards Courtney when she held him accountable. She was like, you treated me really bad. I just didn't feel wanted. You cheated. All the stuff we saw him doing, God knows whatever else. And Colt is like, well, what about the stuff you've done to me? Boy, bye. Nobody cares what's done to you except for your mama. Okay? Nobody. Colt is nasty. I feel like he's a predator in a different way, because I feel like Colt preys on women that are broken. Courtney was ready to give up from her dating history. Diana, no shade to her. He has a thing for women in Brazil, but she's a much different type of woman from Brazil from what we've seen Colt date before. I feel like he dates women that are insecure, fragile, or are using him. Or maybe because of Larissa, he said, after her, I'm never going to be going through much. But I don't know. I just don't like Colt. He just doesn't seem like a good person outside of the show, and he doesn't seem like someone worth arguing with. Like, if someone is not going to acknowledge the wrong that they've done, what is the point in wasting your breath trying to convince them? Either people are going to get it or they're not. That's just how I feel. That's a personal feeling. But we did learn that Colt slid into Courtney's best friend's DM after going out to eat with Courtney, her best friend, and her best friend's husband. How can you sit and eat with a man's husband and then slide into the DMs of his wife? Especially when the wife is your girlfriend's friend or ex's friend. However you put it, Colt dates as if he is just like in a loop that he can't escape or something. Like, it doesn't make sense the way that he dates. It just doesn't. But considering the way he looks, I don't know, maybe the colorless women like him a little bit more. But the way that this man looks, I don't understand how he gets away with this, because Colt is not that attractive to get away with this crap. And I don't want to just say that he's a horrible person, but I need to see more from Colt before I can like have a informed opinion about how he is today. Because what I remember from seeing him on 90 Day Fiance and all them spinoffs, he ain't nothing. He ain't shit but a slice of cheese without the corners. He ain't nothing. I just cannot with him. But everybody moves to the stage, and Sophie is still upset that Pedro will not talk to her. And I'm sorry, at the beginning of this, I felt like Sophie and Colt, y'all have the most audacity. Y'all have the most audacity and treat people so bad, but want to be treated with so much respect that y'all ain't even earned. They haven't even earned it. So I don't know. I don't really care for Courtney and Colt, or for Colt. I don't really care for Sophie. And what's sad is I used to like Sophie prior to this season. I just thought her mama was a little crazy and she was a little dumb. But now I'm seeing she's just plastically she has no depth to her. Things don't get too deep. But we learned that Courtney, she's making all these comments about Colt. She says that she cared about Colt, and that the reason, because one of the first questions they ask when they're on the stage was why she helped him so much. I think we were all wondering, like, in the beginning, I could understand it. But after how he treated her, what he did in her parents' house, I didn't understand her helping him after she found out he was talking to someone else while in her mama's house. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And Courtney's answer was Colt was a friend to her when she was at the singles retreat with other cast members. She says that a lot of the cast members were talking badly about her, not treating her appropriately. And Colt was a person who really came to try and support her and be there for her. That's what he does. He finds a wounded baby bird, nurses it back to health, feeds it and treats it well for a little bit. And then he kicks that bitch out the nest. Okay. That is what Colt does. But we're going to move away from Courtney and Colt, because they just kind of gave her that little moment. Honestly, Colt is not going to, I don't think he's going to change. I don't think he's going to do well at this tell-all, especially with us seeing like what is to come for the part 2 of the tell-all. But we're going to actually move gears, beautiful people, to Kim and Jamal. I am reporting this to y'all in the order that I saw it on my TV screen. So if it's all over the place, I apologize. Just let me know and I'll do better next time. But Kim speaks about her romance with Wayne, who is the gentleman she was dating in the UK, who made it very clear that he don't want to put a label on nothing. And she says she doesn't have regrets about sharing her adoption. She gave up 2 kids for adoption. I don't think she should have regrets about sharing that. I just feel like 90 Day Fiance, and I said this on Kimberly's Instagram page. Shout out to Kim, because I am a Kim fan. Kim and Jamal could have their own spinoff. If Stacey and Darcy can get one, and I'm sorry, they've always been overrated, boring plastic bitches to me. If Stacey and Darcy can get a spinoff, give Jamal and his mama, Kim, a spinoff, because Kim, we could get conclusions and see what she's going through building a relationship with the son that she made contact with. We could also watch Kim trying to locate the daughter that she gave up for adoption. We can watch Jamal and Emma and whatever the fuck they have going on with their love story. Y'all better check the tea, because Emma and Jamal are allegedly in Aruba together right now as we speak. But there's a lot that they both have to give. I'm all for spinoffs, and I feel like Kim and Jamal should get one. That's just me. Let me know if you guys feel differently. It's totally fine to disagree with me, but I would love to see them in a spinoff. And we're going to put a pin in it and come back to them and get into some of the meat and potatoes. We're going to get into Sophie, Pedro, and their whole joke of a love story. So Sophie gives us an update. She says she is not divorced from Rob yet, but she is almost divorced. Sophie and Rob are the same person. I think that's why they're not together, but I digress. Julia, her yes man, the worst friend that could ever exist, someone that's useless that I do not care to see on 90 Day Fiance ever again, comes out. Listen, congrats on the baby. I'm glad she's okay. Childbirth is something that it can be dangerous. I'm happy the baby made it safely. I'm happy Julia's okay, but she is not single. She is not living the single life. And I feel like she's a shitty friend, because a friend that'll tell you yes and what you want to hear versus what you need to hear is not doing you any favors. Julia, you can save Sophie a lot of trouble if you tell her you were wrong. But I see Julia just agreeing with whoever her friend is. So I feel like she's just about having friend versus actual true friendship, which requires more than just fun, but actually telling your people the truth sometimes when they need to hear it. That's just my opinion. But I was happy that Ross, who is the host, I don't like his voice. I don't know what the fuck is going on with his voice. It's way too high pitched. It gets on my nerves. And I understand that Ross Matthews is a fan of the show. I know that a lot of 90 Day people were excited to have Ross there. I personally don't care who hosts the reunions, but I don't feel like Ross did the best job. I'm sorry, not sorry. Not saying I dislike Ross Matthews, but like, I didn't understand what the hell he was doing. He just kind of sat there. He asked some questions, but he didn't really do the best job at hosting. But they did point out the mixed signals that Sophie sent Pedro's way. A lot of people, including Colt, Pedro, and Liz, acknowledged that Sophie was not hearing what Pedro had to say, and Pedro was not hearing what Sophie had to say. That may be true, but I'd like to call bullshit. I personally feel like Pedro made it very clear. I like you. I want to court you. And I'm being kind to you and doing these things because I want to be with you. He made that very clear. Sophie was accepting it and was cool with it until she got to the Dominican Republic and saw some other cute boys. And then she was like, I'm single. I want to be single. I want to date around. Then you should have told him that before he flew to the DR thinking that he was going to be meeting up and kicking it with you and things like that. Like, this is what we mean, Sophie, when we say mixed signals. Say what you mean and mean what you say, baby, because you're not making no sense. You're not. You're not. I don't feel like Pedro should take any fault in the situation with Sophie. And y'all know I had very strong negative opinions on Pedro and his family. I still feel like Pedro's a little bitch boy when it comes to his family. Man up and tell them to stay out of your relationships. Man up and tell them and make them respect your partner, because you have to do that sometimes. You just do. But in this situation with Sophie, he hasn't done anything. Pedro is not wrong. He ain't done not a damn thing to that girl. He's just trying to sell real estate and find his second wife, okay? And he has a right to do that. It didn't work with Chantel. I don't think it's fair to bring up Pedro and Chantel's relationship now that they've been divorced, both moved on, and all of these things. But I will say that Sophie played with him, and it's not okay. And I think a lot of women lean into we're women, you know, we can't play with these men. They play with us. Things go both ways. Like, and in this situation, I just side with who I view is right or wrong. And in this situation, Sophie to me is wrong and Pedro was right. Now, that's not to say Sophie didn't have to go through a lot, because she did have to go through a lot. She felt like her relationship, she felt like Colt at one point was purposely trying to sabotage her relationship with Pedro. So she was telling Colt to shut up. But Colt actually was right. Sophie, you are wrong. Sophie just tells people to shut up and snaps at them when they tell her she's wrong. She's mad at Liz for telling her the truth. She's mad at everybody who's told her the truth about herself. The only one she's not mad at is Julia, because Julia's a weak bitch who's not going to tell her friend what's what. That's just the truth. So, you know, Julia, go be with your husband, go be with your kids. Let Sophie dig her own grave and sit in it. It don't got, you know, let her be. But Pedro's sister Nicole comes on with a new face and a new set of teeth. Look like them dentures wanted to fall out of her mouth. I don't know what she's doing, but she's proven to us why the Dominican Republic is rated where they are in the world as it relates to healthcare, because her teeth looked crazy. But Nicole has a totally new face. She don't look like Lydia no more. I'm sorry. Go watch, I think it was season 4 of 90 Day Fiance with Pedro and Chantel were on there. When we met Lydia and Nicole, they did not look like they do today. They still hard on the eyes, but it's just like, I don't look at them and my eyes burn no more. But my God, the plastic surgery is crazy. Now, Nicole comes out and acts a fool. She thinks that Sophie has never had the intention of being with Pedro. I agree with Nicole. I never thought I would say that. My God, today. Woo, y'all, I do not like Nicole. Never liked her. I think she's got an unhealthy relationship with her brother. But she is right. I don't think Sophie had any intention of truly being with Pedro. I think she was like, this is my friend. I might fuck him sometimes. I think that was her plan. And then he could show me around the DR. I don't think she wanted to be with him for real. If she had the intention of being with Pedro, then she wouldn't have spoken about wanting to be single and live her life so much throughout the season. Like, a person that's so dedicated to being single has no intention of being with someone. So Nicole is right on that. The problem is Nicole don't know how to deliver her message. But when we first met Nicole, she couldn't even give us a sentence in English, and now she can speak the language. So it could be the language barrier that made it harder for her to explain things. But Nicole mentioned she didn't like Sophie for her brother because Sophie had a bad habit of comparing Pedro to Rob. You should never compare your next to your ex, baby. That's the number one rule of dating for women and men. Comparing people is not fair, and it's not going to work. That's why Tyler Perry told us to make out that list 80-20 and see which one. I'm just saying. But I wish Sophie would just admit and apologize to Pedro that at that time she wasn't ready to date, didn't know how to tell him that. I wish Sophie would say that, because then we could move on, but she doesn't. Vanya steps in and points out that Nicole attacked Sophie. And honestly, I agree with Vanya. Pedro needs to man up and defend his women against his family, make the family respect them, or just keep your family away from them. If you're dating women in Colombia and you're dating women in America, there's no reason for them to need to meet your family in the Dominican Republic. There's none. Like, Pedro, your people are far away. Stop introducing them. But Vanya was right. Nicole did attack Sophie, because at that scene when Sophie got to meet the family, the first thing that Sophie said to her was, do you like my brother, or why are you with him? I heard you're giving him chaos, or something like that. It's not your business to ask her about the problem she's having with your brother. Meet her, give your brother your opinions, and leave it there, Nicole. Tell your brother how you feel, tell the camera how you feel, but you don't need to go further and make a beef and be so difficult. You don't. You really, really don't. And it's crazy that Nicole is doing this, because remember, her mama didn't like that man that she was dating in New York either. And you would think that she would try and like be easier on Pedro's spouses because she knows what it feels like. But we know Nicole ain't wrapped right. The lights are on and nobody is home. In her brain, child, nobody is home. Now, Ross Matthews points out that Pedro needs to start, speaking up and defending the family. And Pedro says he's going to do that, which we all know is bullshit. Because his mom puts a lot of guilt on him. He doesn't really talk to his dad's side of the family, as we know. And then he's stuck with Nicole, who has no sense, But Nicole said something else that made sense through the interaction. She said, if Sophie really had feelings for Pedro, then he wouldn't have been kissing, or then Sophie would not have been kissing other men. That is true. I know a lot of people like to say, I'm dating, I can do what I want. That's why a lot of y'all be single. If I like a boy, I'm not going to go and kiss other boys. I'm going to figure my situation out with that one boy first and then move into the next. The way that Sophie is doing it, she's trying to kiss this guy, talk to her ex, date Pedro, and talk to whoever knows else also. I get it. You want to be a player, but you're not doing it right, Miss Sophie. You're not doing it right, baby. You're not. If you are going to do it, at least be secretive. Every time Sophie got a new boy to talk to or wanted to go do something, why are you running and telling Pedro when you know how he feels about you? Yeah, I kissed another guy. Yeah, I'm going to go on a date. Yeah, I'm talking to someone else. You don't have to announce it, Miss Sophie. Like you said, you're not in a relationship. So why are you announcing shit that you know is going to upset him and then complaining about having to deal with his upset? Girl, you not making no sense. You're not making no sense. And I feel like Sophie knows that she's not making sense, but again, she doesn't want to admit that she is wrong. But we move on because Pedro's made it very clear he is done with Sophie, not interested in spinning the block, turning back, or none of that, which I respect him for. But we learned Pedro got a new woman. Her name is Valentina. She was beautiful. And he says that this woman is the love of his life. He never described Chantel that way, but he also did not shit on Chantel, which I appreciated. Pedro said, I love Chantel, but like I really love Chantel, but this one is the love of my life, which is true. Sometimes you don't know till you know. I don't think anything's wrong with that. Chantel's moved on, so why can't he? Right? Why can't he? Also, congrats to Winter, who is Chantel's sister. I just learned she got married and had a baby. I know I'm late, but shout out to her. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. I liked Winter on the family Chantel. I enjoyed her. I actually enjoy Chantel's family. So I always wish them all well. Pedro, just keep your mama and your sister off of our television screens. I'm tired of looking at them. I'm tired. And if you don't want us to talk about them, keep them away. But he has this new woman. She comes on a little TV screen. She's from Colombia. Nicole says that she's unsure of this woman for Pedro because she says that she sees the lady posting a lot of pictures traveling on social media. And she says that she don't post no pictures with her family. Nicole says that this tells her that the lady may be an escort. I said, what? You know, I just started posting my family personally on my Instagram, my personal Instagram account. Does that mean that I'm an escort because I don't post them and post stuff having fun? Some people post everything on social media. Some people are making sure to pay attention to a social media facade, like they want to look a certain way online. I feel like you're not going to ever know a person's life through social media, and the people that pay too much attention to it are toxic. So Nicole, that's how I'm going to say to you. This lady also got offended. She's like, I'm a psychologist. I pay for my trips because I have my degree. Colombia is not like the Dominican Republic. They have better healthcare than the DR. A lot of Americans actually go there for their plastic surgery and other things. We just saw Selena on Bell Collective go there for teeth. We've seen a couple of people go to Colombia to get their bodies done. Cardi B was talking about it. Like they're not bad medical care. Yes, there's areas that aren't the safest, but the people there, if they go to school and get degrees, can't work in fields. So it's kind of rude to assume that a woman is selling her body just because she's able to travel and do things for herself. I think that's whack, actually. Nicole, just because you jealous, you don't go nowhere, don't mean you get to do this, you know? But I like how Valentina addressed Nicole, but wasn't rude. Pedro swears he learned from his past, and he says he's going to defend Valentina with his shield and his sword, even though his sister called Valentina a damn escort and he didn't defend shit. Valentina had to defend herself. So I don't think Pedro's changed. I don't think he's learned his lesson. And why do we think this? Because he says he's going to introduce Valentina to the family soon. Why the fuck you gonna introduce her to the family if they already think she a hoe? I'm just like, they saw some pictures of her in Dubai and said she's an escort. Girl, do you know what Dubai would do to her if she got caught doing that out there? Nicole, go read a book. Go read a book and take your teeth out and do something else, baby. Because this is not working. It's not working for any of us. But we're going to move forward, beautiful humans. We are going to move past Pedro's situation. We will wish him and Valentina the best. And we're going to move into Kim. Kim lets us know that she is still seeing Wayne. And Sophie points out that in England, when you're seeing each other, if you say we're seeing each other, in England, that means you're nothing. It's a way of saying like we're not doing nothing. She called him out because, you know, Sophie came from England. So I like that she called him out. But Kim says she's happy with Wayne. Wayne seems to know all of the things about Kim. They have plans to see each other. It looks like Kim is going to go to see him. He's going to actually be coming to America to visit her. They're also going to figure out if they're going to live together, whether he's going to come to her or she's going to go to him. He still won't admit that they're in a relationship, but I guess they're trying to figure out if they're going to be. I think in this type of a situation, something Kim said that is real. She's 55 years old. She says she's about to be in her golden years, which is true. And though you are as young as you feel, because I have a friend who's plus 60 and is one of my favorite persons, and you would never know this person is that age. But I also know, like, from my older friends, like, the way they date is differently. They don't need too much from people. Sometimes they just want companionship, a person to take a trip with. Sometimes they don't need too much or want to get married. Now, Wayne says he has no interest at all in getting married, which a lot of people were looking at Kim like, huh? And she's like, has anyone asked if I want to get married or if I want to do this? And I kind of felt like that was a good point. But Kim, you was ready to marry Usman. That's how you got here on 90 Day Fiance. I do think Kim wants to get married. I just don't think she wants to look desperate in front of Wayne. I actually think Kim would do better, again, if she had her own spinoff and was dating people out here. I also think Kim would do better maybe with Wayne if they weren't on camera, because maybe he's uncomfortable with that. But all we can say is we wish them the best in their journey and go from there, because I do feel like, separate from them being older and dating, they've got grown children. They're also internationally dating. So they might want to take their time and like take baby steps with everything, because the moment you put a label on it, the moment expectations come with that label, and those expectations become real, and then things like long distance may become more troublesome and difficult to deal with. So I'm all for them taking their time. Let them do what they're doing. She ain't engaged, and move them in. So if this is what she wants to do, then it's what she wants to do. But I like that he's respectful to Jamal and things are okay. Now, Jamal does come out onto the stage and he discusses Kim putting up the siblings for adoption and the sensitive nature of that this season. Jamal had an issue with Kim because Kim was catfishing as Jamal talking to the brother. And she breaks down in tears because she's so embarrassed and ashamed of her actions. And she says she's trying to work through it in therapy. She's apologizing to Jamal. I was happy that Jamal, because if y'all watch my early reviews of this season, I was ready to wring Jamal at the throat. Like, I didn't feel like he was being sensitive to something his mother went through. Also, to all you ignorant motherfuckers out there, I respect a female 15 times more that puts her child up for adoption to give them a good life versus keeping that child and raising them in ways that may cause them trauma or ways that might cause her trauma. Some people don't believe in abortion. Some people live in states where it's not possible. I am not sure where Kim was in the 90s when she was having these kids. But what I will say is, if you are not a woman, keep your opinion to yourself about what she did with these babies. Also, giving your children up for adoption is not a bad thing. Her son Larry is doing well. Her daughter, we don't know that she's doing well today, but based on the letter that she read that the parents sent her, her daughter is doing well. Kim gave her kids a good life. She wasn't ready to be a parent, and that's okay, because she gave someone else the gift of being able to be a parent. I don't like how people have been attacking her online and stuff because of this. I think it's stupid when there's a lot more people famous for bullshit who have done truly awful things that people like to watch and follow. So leave Kim alone. She gave a kid up for adoption. It was her choice. The kids are fine. Let it go, world. But, you know, Kim is human. Jamal is human. I appreciate that he supported his mom. Things did break his trust with the catfish situation, but I like that he's still saying, like, that's my mama. Like, I can be mad at her, but that's his mama at the end of the day. He gonna stick beside her, as he should. And he knows that his father was not the greatest man, definitely a shit parent, but he has a right to feel away also, because he's learning he has siblings and this impacts him too. So I'm going to give Jamal grace. I'm going to give Kim grace. Now, Colt comments on Kim's situation. Colt actually was trying to say something nice, but you could tell that this cast and people just do not like Colt. And Jamal says, I don't want your opinion. I just don't like you. He says he feels like Colt is a sad man and a person that he would never dream to be like. Jamal also points out that Colt has a trap of getting people to feel sorry for him and then later using them and betraying them. Let me tell y'all, when I say tell the truth and shame the devil, as if I'm in church, that's what I would have been doing with Jamal, because he absolutely told the truth about Colt. And I don't think that Colt is used to hearing men hold him accountable. He's used to women being like, oh my God, this is awful. But for the men to be speaking up against Colt, I don't think he likes that. And I think it hits harder for him because I don't feel like Colt respects women. I just do not. But Colt got mad. He started slurring his words. I was like, is he on some type of medication? Is he all right? Let me know what y'all think was going on with the word slurs. But, you know, he's going off. Jamal was like, you're a bum, which he kind of looked like a bum on TV. I'm sorry, Colt. You looked like a bum on TV. You sat in your girlfriend's house, cheated on her with another girlfriend who you had to go live with because you can't do for your fucking self. Most people injure themselves, go on disability, get an in-home care aid, things like that. Not Colt. He's got to go live with people, make their lives miserable, and cheat while he only got one good leg. So, you know, Colt, you kind of deserved what you got from Jamal. But I thought they was going to come to blows and actually square up the fight. But they don't. They go to commercial break because, honestly, Jamal fighting Colt is not a fair fight. Colt, you a bitch ass, you know what? You a bitch ass little boy. It's just a fact. You an easy fight. I can fight Colt and win. All 131 pounds of Mrs. Best could probably fight Colt and win. So I'm glad they did not fight. But all I'm going to say is we end this segment with Kim having no label with Wayne. And it seems like she is ignoring some red flags about Wayne. But we're just going to wish Kim the best because Kim seems genuine. And I hope that she finds love. Jamal, I wish you would have knocked Colt over or at least like tripped him or something. But, you know, at least you read him his rights. You read him for filth. So it will do. It will do. And Jamal, I don't know if you're coming across this, baby, but if you really are dating Emma from before the 90 days, would you please tell that hoe to pull her wig up? Her wig is right here with the part right there. I need it to be, where's my hairline? Y'all ignore my new growth. I need her wig to start right there. Right there. That's what I need. Okay? Tell Emma to fix her wig. Make her take it off, please. But we're going to get into... I'll be thinking I'm going to get canceled one day for talking shit on the internet like this. I really do. But it's okay, y'all. I'm just giving my opinion. I got to remember that. We're going to move on to Vanya and Tony. Vanya gives us an update. Her and Tony are still together. I said... And to Vanya's people who commented on the show, on my channel, I get it. That's your friend. That's your loved one. You got to stick beside them. But she is on a reality television show. So I remind people of the disclaimer. And it's a damn shame that I have to do this because people don't seem to understand that I'm a YouTuber. I'm reviewing the show, giving my personal opinion of what I saw. I have not claimed to know these people. I cannot say that they are good or bad. I can't say any of that. But the fact that I have to give an extra disclaimer because her raggedy cousins and friends or whoever wants to come on my channel because they don't like my opinion of it. Oh, well, because guess what? The shit still ain't changed. Vanya needs help. I think Vanya needs to learn how to walk away from things that do not serve her sooner than later. I think that Vanya is a red flag in a relationship as well and doesn't communicate appropriately. Vanya seems impulsive and doesn't know how to wait for a person to want to be with her. She kind of forced Tony into doing it before he was ready, which probably could have saved her a lot of trouble. And I also, after watching the season and reunion, I feel like Vanya has unresolved childhood trauma from growing up in a war based on religion. And I feel like she unintentionally puts her trauma and baggage onto the people in her life. And what I mean when I say that It's little things. She says she doesn't want kids and cried, saying it's because of her experience having to kind of be a parent to her family members growing up throughout that war. Listen, that's valid. But baby, I raised my siblings too. I feel like you need to go to therapy, Vanya. I'm not attacking this lady at all. I definitely feel like she needs to go to therapy. Those things we go through when we're younger, a year or 5 years of therapy isn't going to fix. Like, people who go through the shit that Vanya went through, which is extremely intense, extremely sad, and a more intense form of trauma than most people recognize, usually they need a more intense form of therapy than most people would need. This isn't just I did a quick session or this and that. She needs somebody trained in CBT, DBT, psychiatry. She needs dual diagnosis, I think. Not saying anything's wrong with her, but you could tell a lot of that pain from what she went through is still like right there. And I want Vanya to be okay, because I can imagine what she went through being difficult, but I want her to be okay. So I hope she gets help for that. And I respect her for saying she doesn't want kids. Now, Tony handled the kid thing okay. He came out there. He said their relationship was a roller coaster. And he throws a red flag at us because we know Vanya don't want kids, but Tony does. I said, then why the fuck is she up here like, oh, no engagement yet? Girl, stop being Delulu and come down off your high horse. You're not going to get a fucking ring. You're not. You're not going to get a ring. Are you going to talk about the ring over and over and over and over like you did about the relationship until he finally enters one with you? That's not what you want out of a marriage. You want someone to marry you because they want to, not because of a visa. And that's the aha with 90 Day Fiance and what makes it entertaining to us as an audience, because the visa rushes a process. And the reason they do it is to make sure that the love is real. I personally feel like Tony and Vanya are rushing things. I feel like it's because Vanya won't let go. Tony has finally acclimated to her and it's like, I like her, I care about her, I want kids. And he says that maybe he will not care about having kids once he falls in love with her. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but why is this lady asking and begging for a ring when this man says that he don't even know if he's in love with her and feels like he could let go of stuff once he is? 8 months. Sometimes people don't fall in love that fast, but 8 months is also a good amount of time to know if you want to be with her or something. I think she's 43 years old and she's cutting it close. If they're going to have kids, you know how our bodies are as women. They need to make a decision fast, unless she's going to like freeze her eggs, which it sounds like she has not done, because she knows that she does not want children. Some women are okay with not having kids. I'm one of those women where, like, if I have kids, I'm okay with it. If I don't have kids, I'm okay with it. My partner is also that way, though. So that matters. I do feel like children is something you should agree on in a relationship, because they make relationships harder. So if you both don't really want them, it could be problematic. So I think Vanya and Tony are going to make it, but I've never thought that this couple was going to make it. I think anyone that does think they're going to make it is high key delusional. But her cousin Sanella comes out, and cousins like this are problematic. She refuses to sit next to Tony. You don't have to like somebody to sit next to them. Grow the fuck up, Sanella. Maybe that's why Vanya behaves this way too. Or maybe it was Sanella commenting on my page because she didn't like hearing the truth. But just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you can't sit next to them. If you don't like someone that someone is dating, you don't have to be disrespectful and make it uncomfortable. Like, just endure. My God, childish. But Sanella says she doesn't like Tony. She doesn't like him with Vanya. She thinks they should never be married. And she says it's because all he does is make Vanya cry and throw her down. I do hear Sanella, and I do not think Sanella is lying at all. I actually fully believe everything Sanella is saying. I also love her name, so I'm going to say it 3 more times. Sanella, Sanella, Sanella. I love the name. But sometimes when your friends make stupid decisions, you got to let them. I have some friends right now that are making some stupid fucking decisions that I know are going to bite them in the ass, and they're going to come calling me in a couple months like, I shouldn't have done this. I have friends like that right now, several. Okay. And all you can do is, all right, you want to do what you do. I told you. but it is what it is. I have friends right now. 2 of my best friends are in relationships with people they don't need to be in relationships right now. And 2 of my best friends are in relationships that are going no fucking where. I feel like they know it, but are just like trying to ignore it and hope that something different happens. But I let them know, you know, I don't fully agree with you doing, but you got to live your life in a way where you know, you don't have regret. And, you know, I hope it works out, but if it doesn't, I'm here for you. Like, that's all you have to do, Sanella. All this extra stuff of giving him the energy, not wanting to sit next to him, all of that. You don't need to do all of that, baby. You're doing a little bit too much. You're definitely doing a lot too much. But things got worse. We also learned that Tony and Vanya, they not getting busy, bumping uglies, knocking boots. They're not doing that too often. They have had sex since she broke her celibacy to be with him, but they don't have sex often. The reason they do not have sex often is because Tony says he needs emotional clarity to fuck her. I said, okay, Tony, not them trying to look at Gino and be like, Gino, it's the same for you, right? He's like, yeah. Gino with this hat and how he moves and not being able to fuck. And Tony not being able to get it up all the time. Talk about because he needs emotional clarity when he's the one causing the lack of emotional clarity. Maybe y'all should date men. Tony's already got his eyebrows done so that he could get into that crowd. Maybe they should date men. I have never heard a fully heterosexual man say they couldn't get it up. There are straight men out there sleeping with women they are not even attracted to for real, just because they want to get their rocks off. So these men cannot tell me, because regardless on how I feel about Vanya's dating, she is beautiful. She does not look her age at all. She's aging wonderfully, especially for a colorless lady. Usually they get them crow's feet and all that crazy stuff. Vanya's beautiful. She's aging wonderfully. Body is tea. Okay. There should be no reason that a man doesn't want to have sex with her. And you're saying emotional clarity. Sounds like when you guys have disagreements and stuff, for the most part, it sounds like from what Vanya was saying and what Sanella was saying and what Tony is saying, it sounds like Tony be tripping when he mad. So how you gonna start tripping and get mad about little stuff and then not want to sleep with her? It don't make sense. But I feel like they need to just date men, Tony and Gino. But I'm going to digress and let that go. I know I'm probably taking it too far. But I want Vanya to move on and find somebody better for her. I don't think that Tony's the person for her. And if you are a woman that knows you do not want kids, dating a man who is your age and doesn't have them, or, you know, like, I feel like Vanya needs to do what Courtney did and date older, because they for sure will be okay with no kids. But most men who are single without kids trying to get into a relationship Vanya's age, like, they're getting to that point where they are finally ready to settle down or have a kid. So, you know, we're going to wish Vanya the best, but she was kind of a waste this season. I wasn't entertained by her at all. I just felt like her and Tony, all the hollering and arguing, like, it got draining to watch. Please don't bring Vanya back to the single life. I don't really want to see Vanya back on TV. I actually feel like Vanya needs to date off TV. I feel like she'll do better that way. But, you know, good luck to her. We gonna move into Liz, who pretty much we're going to be talking about for the remainder of what's left of this tell-all. And I appreciate everybody who is still watching. Shout out to everybody who is in our premiere live chat. I do appreciate you guys for being here. And shout out to our replay gang who's watching this video when it is no longer premiering on YouTube. It is not a live, but we are lively commenting. So I appreciate everybody for supporting it. Liz had her love story with Via. She is newly engaged. And she tells us that at the last tell-all we saw her at, she had a man. Things were going okay with that man, even though she looked kind of unhappy with him in the clip they showed. And what happened with that man is she found out that he was cheating on her. When she found out she found out that she was being cheated on, she also found out that she was pregnant. And we know that when she found out she was pregnant, they found a mass, told her to get a second opinion. And she found out, I believe she has cancer, but she is sick and trying to overcome. So that situation really hurt her. Now they do bring out Julia and Via. I don't know why they brought out Julia as a friend to Liz. Julia is not a fucking friend to anybody. She's barely a friend to Sophie. And I didn't like how Julia sided with people. Now, y'all know James from Watch Your Mouth Reviews is a friend of mine I've known for over 20 years. We went to high school together. I met him through my best friend, my current best friend. And me and my best friend argue like sisters, cats and dogs, all of that, especially when we were younger in our 20s. There would be periods we didn't talk. James never took a side. Take fucking notes, Julia, or go the fuck away, please. Because I did not like how Julia sided with Sophie in the DR, and Liz was kind of left on her own and had no point in choice but to come towards Via. But Via and Liz see each other. Via says he was falling in love with Liz, and everything is awkward when he comes on stage. They hug. Liz was like, if you would have told me that, maybe things would be different. Why would you say that when you got a man backstage? Because if that man backstage is actually the man that you want, then nothing on God's green earth would stop you from being with him. Why say that? Why, Liz? But I've always thought Liz was a little slow to date Ed. Sorry, not sorry. But Julia asked everybody to stop with the fake shit, and they point out that Via was a hoe. Because as soon as Via's like, I fell in love with Liz, Julia was like, stop being fake. You are a hoe. Pedro was worried saying you're a hoe. And Via was like, a hoe can't fall in love. Now that was funny, but it's true. A hoe can fall in love. For the right person, a hoe can change. My husband was a hoe. He met me and changed. I don't know why, but probably because I almost dumped him in the first year of dating. Like, you gonna choose one bitch to talk to and that's it. So he's been pretty open since. But like, hoes can fall in love and become reformed. Hell, they can. I'm on Via's side. I'm on his side. Now, we get to meet Liz's new fiance, which is Alec. They say they were not in a relationship and did not have a title before she came to the DR. And as soon as she came back to America from the Dominican Republic, he proposed. It's giving Liz found somebody as insecure as she is. It really is giving that. We don't have a timeline on the engagement that's specific. I don't know. I guess after getting engaged, she returned to the Dominican Republic. I'm like, why? I just don't understand it. They do ask Liz how the sex is with her new friend right in front of Via, or fiance, I guess I should call him. I thought that was odd, but her and Via were never really a thing. But while Liz is trying to talk about sex with her new man, saying that she's comfortable with sex, she loves sex, Ed said that Liz was the best he's ever had in bed. Okay, it seemed like people enjoy Liz. Courtney and her messy self decides to whisper to Pedro that Liz and Jamal had sex. And I'm like, Courtney, why the fuck are you whispering on stage? You know that they're going to catch that and talk about it. Like, what are you doing? And why are you being messy and trying to tear Liz down when you over here still tripping off Colton? You got this old ass senior citizen that you with. Not too much, Courtney. You better be cool. Not too much, because Courtney had to know that she was messy by whispering to Pedro. Of all people, you whispering to Pedro. But Kim feels sick and gets upset because she says, and I hear my son being answered. Now, we know that Kim and Liz are like that. They're very close. Kim had no clue that Liz and Jamal slept together. And Liz was like, it was a really long time ago. Kim, you don't need to know every person your son has sex with. Now, I understand that since Kim and Liz are friends, that's a boundary. I totally get that. But I also kind of feel like they're grown. Liz is closer to Jamal's age than your age. So she slept with him and nothing came out of it. Who cares? What you need to be worried about, Kim, is why your son is dating a woman that wears a wig that come down to her fucking eyebrow. That's what you need to be worried about. Not him with Liz. Liz is engaged, moved on, and obviously not moving backward to Jamal. Also, your son's a hoe, Kim. I'm sorry. Your son is a hoe. He's just the straight man that's going to get around. He done been with Veronica. He done been with Emma. He's been seen with another girl from 90 Day. Like, everybody on this cast dates each other. So I just personally kind of feel like you can't really get mad. Now, if Liz and Kim were friends outside of the show, like, and did not meet each other through the show and were not in the 90-day realm, then I would get Kim and feel like, okay, you did kind of cross a boundary. But she says, fuck you to Liz and walks off the stage. I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. Like, boundary or not, it's not a fuck you, our friendship is over. Like, Liz has somebody new. And you can't just hold Liz accountable without holding your son accountable. Because they both crossed the boundary, if that's going to be the excuse that Kim uses. But Kim, I feel like it's going to just need to calm down a little bit, and then we'll come back out. Maybe she walked off stage to go confront Jamal about it. But I think that was messy, Courtney, because you just watched this lady crying and her son having a hard time. Now you're exposing something her son did with her friend. Like, be more thought-provoking, Courtney. But as she said, maybe she truly is a blonde and it's just a dumbass. Maybe that's what it is, y'all. Maybe that's what it is. But I was like, girl, if you don't be quiet and put some kale pectate in that diarrhea of the mouth, what are you doing? Oh, I don't understand why people move this way. Sometimes it's good to just zip it up and not say nothing. Now, if Courtney would have whispered that backstage, I wouldn't come for her like that, because it's like, your backstage shit happens. But to whisper something on stage with the cameras filming you from every different direction, you had to know. You had to know that it was going to come out. And I also think it's fucked up because that bothers Kim. But I want Kim to get over it. Girl, your son slept with somebody. It's not the end of time. That's what boys do. Focus on getting the title out of Wayne, not this. I do hope that Kim and Liz are able to keep their friendship. I don't feel like this should change it, because it's not that deep. But, you know, I don't know what it feels like to have my child sleep with a friend. So I can't even say what the reaction is. What I would like to know, to the chat and everybody here, shout out to the replay. I love y'all, Thug Life. Any of my parents who subscribe to me, any parents watching this review, would you guys be upset if you found out that your child slept with your friend? Of course, if they're, you know, of age, like Jamal and them, let me know how you guys would feel in the chat, and we could keep the conversation going in the comments after this video ends. But that was all we got for the Tell All Part 1. That is all that we got. I knew that Liz would give more of a season, and honestly, I love it, because Sophie came on here thinking she was going to be that girl, and your segment came and went, baby. And the only time you're going to be brought up again is for other people's segments. So we'll see what happens on the Tell All Part 2. I am having a birthday, you guys. My birthday is this Friday, May the 22nd. I am turning 34 years old. I will be out of town. I'm going to go to New Orleans and see some family, see some friends, things of that nature. I am born and raised in Oakland, California, and live here, but most of my family that I talk to, especially my father's side of the family, they are from the good old NOLA. So I'm going to go see some of them. I'm very excited for that. Because of that, the schedule this week is a little bit different, so that I can get content prepared, so that I can still have my reviews out on time. Love and Hip Hop Miami will not be live this week, because I will be on a plane in the sky going to Louisiana. But I will be available in the chat. Other things I'll have, we are introducing 3 new shows to our channel this week. The first one premieres tonight. It's called In the City. It's on Bravo. I will be recapping that tomorrow on a live stream, Tuesday or Wednesday, May 20th. I'm also going to be covering one of my favorite shows, the final season of The Chi. It's a show based around an all African-American cast in Chicago. Shout out to everybody in Chicago. That's where my man's family is from. Shout out to Chi-Town. I love y'all. And shout out to Vibex. I believe he's somewhere over there. Other shows that are new, Netflix Nemesis. It's 8 episodes. I'm going to be reviewing that, so that will be up on Sunday. But I love and appreciate all of y'all. If there's a suggestion for a show that you would like me to cover, please feel free to suggest it. I am always open to suggestions. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or week whenever you are watching. Let me know how you guys feel about things in the comments. James may be back before June also. So that is something to look out for. But other than that, you guys, love and light to you all. I will see you for the next review. Bon voyage.